Welcome back, everybody, and today we're going to be talking again about the Walmart Bugout Clone, known as the 7.5-inch folding knife by Walmart and Ozark Trails. This knife has, well, it's exceeded all of my expectations. I've carried this knife now every day for a week, using it as my primary knife. Even cutting open boxes, we've put this sucker aside and we have used the Bugout, or Budge Out if you will, the 7.5-inch folding knife with slide lock from Ozark Trails, available at Walmart. We've used it every day now for a week as our primary carry knife, and let me tell you folks, it has exceeded every single expectation I had of this knife. When this knife first came out, I saw it as they were setting the module at Walmart for it. They were literally just getting these out of the box, and at first appearance I was like, that looks kind of neat, but the handle looks junky. It's probably cheap. Didn't even give it a second thought, and one day I walked past it, saw it again, and decided, you know what, we'll pick it up. Next thing you know, the internet's having this knife is taking the internet by storm. Everybody's talking about it, and reasonably, right, arguably for good reason. This is a good knife. This is a phenomenal knife for $10 price tag that Walmart's put on it. Has so much going for it that is just good. The D2 steel is good. It appears to have a great heat treat done to it. The slide lock, the clone of the axis lock, works flawlessly. This knife is on bearings. There's been other videos where it's been taken down and broken apart, and it's on bearings. The action is just, surprisingly, it's there. It's good. This knife is, well, pretty hard to beat for $10. So we carried it for a week, doing everything from breaking down cardboard boxes to cutting rope to cutting zip ties. This still has the out-of-the-box edge on it. We have not sharpened it. We have not touched this edge up yet. So let's kind of take a look and see how it still does. So here we've got a piece of 550 cord. This is regular 550. Let's take a loop here, and barely any pressure at all. Just cuts right through it. And let's see here. It's fairly clean cut. Fairly clean cut. The outside sheathing, that nylon sheathing, has looks like a little bit of tearing to it, but the inner is cut pretty clean. And same thing on this side. You can see where it tore a little bit, that sheathing did, but fairly clean. Let's do that again. And even easier, there's going to be some dull spots on this blade because I did carry it for a week and I've used it for a week. So surprisingly, still pretty sharp. That D2 has good edge retention on it. It has pretty good edge retention on it. Here we have a regular zip tie. This is just your run-of-the-mill, I believe it's a Hyper Tough brand, available at Walmart zip tie. And we'll just go ahead and zip it down a little bit and go ahead here. No problem. Cuts right through it. No problem at all. And it's a nice clean cut. So it's repeatable each and every time. Whoop. Slices right through it, as long as the operator doesn't make a mistake. So this knife for $10, if you can get past this part of this knife, this part right here where it says China, if you can get past that, this is a great knife. Even with it being made in China, it's still a great knife. Not a big fan about these handles. That's one of the major cons that this knife has going for it, is the handles. They're not great. There's been some quality control issues. Some of these knives have brighter scales on one side than the other. But again, folks, it's $10. For the price of one Benchmade Bugout, you could buy in between 13 and 16 of these, depending on which blade steel you went with, and what color scales or type of scales you went with. The value is there. It's an extreme value knife. Ozark Trails and Walmart have partnered together and done something, well, industry changing, right? Or is it? You have to figure a lot of these smaller knife companies, not talking about Benchmade, a lot of these smaller knife companies do have a substantial amount of cost in their steel. They have costs in their design, and they're not going to sell as many knives, so they do have to price them higher to recoup their money back. That makes sense. When I like a knife and I see a knife, and it does have a hefty price tag, if I like that knife enough, I don't mind paying that price tag because I personally think it's worth it to me, and I'm supporting the designer as well as the manufacturer of that knife, and I understand that. With a knife like this, it's mass produced. They've got their costs down. The steel, they're getting it as cheaply as they possibly can because they're buying it in such a heavy or a high volume. They've got all the cost of the materials, even the cost of the screws, probably down as cheaply as possible because they are buying in large volume. So they're able to offer something that is really good at a really, really good price and still turn a profit. I would have to guess that Walmart is probably making anywhere from $2 to $3 per knife for every one of these that they sell, which means this knife really costs about $5 to manufacture, right? And for $5, they've done one heck of a great job. It's hard to beat. Out of the box, it came razor sharp. Let's see if it still cuts paper. It still will slice paper. It's a little grainy. It's not as smooth as it first was, but man, they're just tore. That's to be expected. This knife has been carried for a week, still has the factory edge, hasn't been sharpened. So the things that I don't like about this knife, the scales, not a big fan of the scales. The quality control is kind of lackluster. However, for $10, it's still a phenomenal knife. If you're somebody that's hard on knives, you're somebody that's going to use your knife every day. You use it from cutting your fruit to some people even use their knives to cut steak, cutting zip ties, cutting rope, and you need something that's going to be dependable, and you don't have a lot of time to dedicate to knife maintenance and blade maintenance. This is going to be a good option for you. It's going to be a good option for just about anybody, except for somebody that really, really is a knife snob. And they're out there. There's knife snobs. I've been accused of being a knife snob before because I do fancy high-end knives, some more expensive knives. But this knife right here is probably going to stay in my pocket a little bit longer than 1 week. We'll probably keep it in the pocket at least another week and then torture test it to see if it's as tough as a Benchmade. I don't have a Bugout, but I do have a couple of other Benchmades that I have put through the ringer and taken out to the field with me. This one right here is normally my field and duty carry knife. This is a mini Adamas by Benchmade. This thing is tough as nails, and it's got a higher quality steel, right? This has CPM crew wear steel, which is considered to be a super steel. It does have a higher quality steel than D2 steel, but D2 steel is good enough for 90% of people. And when we're talking about knives, and we're talking about budget knives especially, good enough wins. Good enough is legitimately just good enough. Not everybody needs to walk around with a mini Adamas or needs to have a ProTech knife with Magna Cut steel. Not everybody needs to be walking around carrying a Microtech. Not everybody needs this. Not everybody wants that. For a lot of people, they just want a knife that they know they can trust, they can use, they can abuse. And this is a fantastic option if you can find them. Hopefully Walmart will be getting more of these in stock. Check your local stores. Do not check the website because the website's sold out at time of recording. Check your local stores. Normally they have some for stash back, or some stores haven't even put them out yet. So if you go there and you don't see them, don't get upset, don't get dismayed. Talk to one of the store associates and see if they've actually got them. Show them a picture of it, and they'd be glad to help you. This knife, I believe it was option number 1 on their packaging. So all the Walmart stores, they use a numbering system for all the knives that they have in their inventory in case. They put numbers on every single knife that is sold there. You take a buck knife that's sold at Walmart and a buck knife sold at Cabela's. It might be the exact same knife. However, there's going to be a number on the box for the one that's sold at Walmart compared to the one sold at Cabela's. But this knife, guys, it's a fantastic knife. I can't say enough good things about it. For those of you that were lucky enough to get your hands on it, you know what I'm talking about. It's a great knife. I cannot wait to torture test this knife and see just how tough this knife really is. See how tough this lock is. See if it holds up. And see how tough this blade is. And we'll also do an edge retention test in that. We'll sharpen her back up, get her nice and razor sharp again, and then we'll see just how long it takes for it to fail. And I did purchase an additional one of these knives. This will be the one going through the torture test, but I like this knife so much that I came across another one and I picked it up as the last one they had in the store. And sorry for whoever came behind me and wanted it, but at $10 it's such a great knife I couldn't pass it up. And this one probably is going to be destroyed, so I wanted to have one to keep. Anyway guys, until next time, have a nice day.